How y'all doing? I'm going to talk about in this video poor people, some of the issues, foreigners, etc. Now this is part one. Okay. Now I talked about a lot of these issues in the previous videos. If you watched, okay. I've already talked about a lot of these issues, but I'm going to talk about them again. This is sort of a synopsis, an analysis of all of those videos of everything I've said. Okay, so first let me explain the foreigners. Okay, the foreigners are always bragging and always criticizing blacks. Well, we have a laundry in the black community, of course, because white folks ain't going to go to it. We have a laundry in the black community, and we're making money off of it. So how come the blacks don't have a laundromat? We have a restaurant in the black community, smack dab in the black community usually. We have a store in the black community. We're selling black hair care products in the black community. Where else? How come the blacks don't do that? And we're making money. How come the blacks don't do it? Why are blacks still the poorest of the poor? Well, first of all, let me correct them to say blacks have already paid the price. We have already been lynched, beaten, tortured, killed for the right for them to have any of these businesses in any community. We've already paid the price. Foreigners don't understand that blacks have already paid the price for the right for them to have any kind of business in anywhere in the black community, anywhere in the black community, white community, anywhere. We've already paid the price. We've already done all the work. In other words, they don't have to do any work. All they got to do is come over here with 30 cents in the pocket, set up a store somewhere, and they can make money. They don't have to go through what we went through to have their businesses burnt down. They don't know why history. You know what? These foreigners do not know the history of America. They don't know, and they do not know the history of black people in particular. They just don't. They don't understand that we have had our businesses, particularly from 1900 on, burned down to the ground. We've had our schools burned down to the ground. We've had our houses burned down to the ground. We've gone through all of that. Okay, that's why we're behind. White folks have taken our land without due process. Just said we want it, give it to us, or else. Okay, they have not had to go through all of that. They do not understand the black experience. They do not understand the American experience. These foreigners, they just plop down in this country, plop their stores usually in the black community, and make a few nickels here and there. Okay, and then they criticize us. Well, how come you don't have what we have? Look at us, we're making money, and you're still poor. You're still the poorest of the poor, and this is the land of the free. How come you can't make any money in the land of the free? Well, see, we understand this country. We understand our black experiences. We do. We understand our black experiences, but they don't. We can't do what they do. For one thing, we cannot smuggle in people 8,000 at $8,000 per person into this country. Okay, we cannot smuggle drugs into this country. We're going to be under the jail, and we know that. If we do that, we're going to be under the jail. Now, look, if we smuggle 5 people at $8,000 a pop, we can make $40,000 a month. We know that, but we can't do it because they can trace us by our social security number. So we can't do it. We're going to be under the jail. We know that. But see, the foreigners don't have a social security number. So they smuggle people here and there, $8,000 a person. That's just from Central America. Okay, and they make $40,000 a year. I mean, a month. It's $8,000 per person. If you smuggle people in from China, that's $40,000 as far as I know. Okay, if we smuggle 2 people from China, that's $80,000 we could make. We can't do that. We would be under the jail. Hello? Under the jail, okay? We cannot live like the foreigners. The foreigners will go to an expensive city like Montgomery County, Maryland, which is one of the most expensive counties in the whole nation. They'll go rent a one-bedroom apartment and have 14 people live in it. Okay, we can't live like that. 14 people in a one-bedroom apartment. We can't live in all that filth, and we're not either. Okay, we cannot live like the foreigners. They'll have a restaurant at the bottom, and then on top of the apartment building, they'll have like 40 people, 40 illegals living on top of that building. So you got what, two toilets, and they serving all that nasty food at the bottom. We can't live like that either. We can't eat like that. Some of them will use one sink. Okay, they'll have one sink for washing and then another sink for cleaning fish. Nasty stuff. We can't live like that. We're not going to live like that. We can't live like the foreigners. We can't do like the foreigners. We can't smuggle and do all this illegal stuff like the foreigners and get away with it. We're too traceable. Okay? And you know what? We cannot commit all this welfare fraud. We're too traceable. For example, applying for welfare in 2 different states. They would put us under the jail. They call that welfare fraud. If we took $300, if Uncle Sam gave us $300 in food stamps, and we took $200 of that money, bought a whole bunch of meat, and then resold it to the restaurants, we would be under the jail. That is called food stamp fraud. And guess what? We're going to be under the jail. I cannot emphasize that enough. We cannot do like the foreigners. Okay? So, look. The foreigners are saying, look, well, I got an extended cab truck. I have a Hummer. How come the blacks don't have it? Well, first of all, we're not competing against the foreigners. We know that a Hummer is a one-way trip to bankruptcy. If you didn't pay cash for that bad boy, we know that that is a one-way trip to bankruptcy. We know that, but y'all don't know it. The foreigners don't know it. And like I said, how are you going to pay for the Hummers? We cannot make $8,000 per person to smuggle somebody in. We would be under the jail before we could even spend it. Okay? But you know what? They do it. They got their Hummer. And, sometimes they say, well, we got our house in America all nice and illegally with no credit check. Why? We don't have a social security number, so there's no credit check. But we got a house in America, so how come the blacks don't have the house? You know what? The foreigners need to stop competing with the blacks. We know this country. We know the rules. And we know, sure, we can go buy a house with drug profits or smuggling people into the country, but you know what? We may have the house, but we're going to be under the jail. Okay? Under the jail. Okay? And you take like, you know what, all the rules that America has for buying real estate and starting the business, you got to pay taxes on the business and so on. That does not apply to the foreigners. They don't understand that. It just does not apply to them because they don't follow the rules. Okay? So they need to stop comparing themselves to blacks and asking, why don't blacks have this? Why don't blacks have that? We can't do like they do. We can't live like they live. 14 people to one house. No, 20. I stand corrected. 20 people to one house. 14 people to one bedroom apartment. One toilet, one sink. We can't smuggle people into this nation. We can't smuggle drugs into this nation unless we get under the jail. Part 2 is next.